Hello, hello, Foxfires. Welcome in. Are you ready for art? Hello. Welcome in. Hello, Seven. Hello, Anonymous. Hello, Rox with the dance. Had me dancing in there. Also, hello, Pichu. Hello, Blaze. Hello, Hamp. Hello, Moxie. Time to learn. Indeed, we are going to be doing lots of learning today. Hold on, I gotta catch a Pokemon in Pokemon Go. It's important. Valtzy got me back on Pokemon Go. I also have... Wait, where did it go? Where did it go? I set up the video so you guys could see the video, and it just keeps disappearing on me. For some reason, I think the wire though doesn't like capturing the YouTube video, I find. Oh, well it was there. I did have like the music video up like usual, but it's disappeared and I don't know why. That's unfortunate. Real sad. Oh no, my he escaped. Hold on. Huh. Trying to catch a nose pass. He's just a giant stone nose. No! Stop it, you! Let me catch you. Let me catch the giant nose. Okay, I also want to move my eye facial. Capture. Alright. Hopefully should be good now. But yeah, we are going to be working on some art today. I'm a bit late, yes, because I was trying to figure out how to turn off the new Twitch Knock Knock collaboration thing, and I was struggling. I couldn't find the settings anywhere. Blaze and GG helped me out. I appreciate it. So thank you for that. Also, hello, Trippy. Welcome in. Had something to do with the stream together thing that was next to the art. I don't know what you're talking about. Also, hello, Pepe! With the quacks. Quack, quack, back at ya. No, nose pass, please. Okay, I'm breaking out the Ultra Ball. Please, get in the Pokeball. Just, please. Stop fighting it. I got an excellent Ultra Ball curveball. He's got to be caught now, right? Yeah, we did it. Chicken rain. All right. So yeah, today we are going to be doing our art lessons as usual for Tuesdays. I did have a lesson plan set up for us for today. Also, welcome in, Fox. Something next to the category and it said like stream together, but now it's gone. Oh, I have no idea. Hopefully it's gone because I turned it off. Maybe. Let's hope that that's what it was. I had to limit the knock knock thing, just like people. It's so silly that Twitch thought having it open to literally anybody by default was a good idea. I agree with that sentiment. But quick question, of course, please. Have no favorites, that's effectively off. Yeah, for sure. What was I gonna say? Oh, so today we'll probably, I'm thinking instead of doing like review section at the start, I think I'm just gonna start immediately with the lesson. Only because my eyes are tired of looking at screens. I've been working on texturing all day. So I was like, you know what, let's just go into the lesson. Or if we have critiques, I can still do that as well if there's anybody out there that wants it. And then I think this lesson is going to be a little bit longer, so that's why I figured we'll just jump right into it. And we did also kind of take an extra week of learning for the feet anyways, so that's why I was like, I think it'll be fine if we just jump right into the lesson this week. Hope you're doing well. I'm doing excellent. Hope you are too, Fox. When I save my work, it makes a desktop shortcut, but when I put it in a folder, when I save my work, it makes a desktop shortcut, but when I put it in a folder, Clip Studio says not found for that work. Is there any way to fix that or something? I'm not 100% sure. Like you take it from your desktop, you drag it, drop it into the folder, and then you try to open it from the folder and it says that it won't open. Yeah, I get having it off for people you know and trust and are down to let them pop in and out of the blue, but like random new person, no, yeah, for sure. Yeah, there's other ways to ask for a collab first, for sure. When you try to open it from Clip Studio, so like you go into Clip Studio, you open the file folder, and then you click on that file and it won't open? Because like I know like it'll do the thing where it's like, I can't find it, or like I can't move it when you have the file open already. But that doesn't sound like what you're talking about. Seems so bizarre. I don't know if I can help you on this one, Blaze. Yeah, screenshot, sure. Feel free to throw it in like Art General or something. We'll see if we can help fix it for you. Oh, but man, I am so incredibly hyped for the model stuff. I'm doing textures right now, so it's like a lot of 2D art stuff, and it looks really good, and I want to show it to you guys soon. We're getting closer and closer. I don't think I'm gonna have as much done as I would have hoped for, but we'll at least have a new model for sure. I'm pretty confident. At least one. All right. Yeah, Blaze, just let me know when you get the texture or the screenshots up there, and I'll try taking a look, but I don't know if I can help. I might not be able to help. But yeah, so for today, we're gonna be learning clothing wrinkles. This is a lesson that I really need. I really need. I feel like whenever I try to draw clothing and stuff on my characters, I struggle with finding out where wrinkles should go and why they should go. Like my brain kind of like automatically just like adds bumps and lines where like it thinks they should go, and where I've kind of like noticed other people do it for a while, but I've never really stopped and studied clothing folds and wrinkles and stuff like that. And I think going through the course and listening to Isham talk about the wrinkles and stuff like that, it made me better understand them and why they're placed in certain places. So yeah, that's what we're gonna be talking about today. So I guess to start, so we have, these are just like my notes that I took from yesterday, and I kind of did a little bit of extra exploratory look and studying on stuff myself. Yeah, we'll figure something out. And what I really kind of like squashed and boiled down for clothing and wrinkles was clothing ends up being like manipulated, right? And how it is manipulated, different types and categories of wrinkles end up occurring. So because of the different forces that are applied on them, right? So you'll often get like a pulled, a push. Let's make a new layer. So you'll get like a pulled, a pushed, and a draped type fold or force. So like pulled is when something is in tension, right? So when you like take a string and you pull on either ends of the string out, you're putting the string into tension, right? So clothing can be done the same way, right? Where it can be pulled or stretched and put into tension. So like when you have like, you know, a piece of cloth and then you pull on either end of it and it like pulls and you stretch it out, right? So that's tension. And then we also have when things are being pushed, right? Or squished together. So we have our piece of paper. This is under compression, right? When it's being pushed and, you know, it squishes together, right? Squishes it in. Or like, I guess a string is a bad example because you can't have a string under compression. But if you took like even just like a wooden stick or something and you push in on it, right? That is compression. Or like a hydraulic press. If you put something in a hydraulic press, that's compression. So those are like kind of the two forces. So like clothing gets manipulated by different forces. And then when something is just like draped or left on top, that's just kind of like the neutral like gravity, you know, that's pulling down on it. So there's not any forces put onto something that's like just draped or left on top of something, right? So those are the kind of the two things. You get like a positive force, a negative force, and then a neutral state kind of idea. So that's kind of like where wrinkles come from, right? So, by having these forces, you know, physical forces on our clothing, it gives us different types of wrinkles. So the first one that we're going to talk about here is a twist. And so the twist is when you have your, let's zoom in a little bit. So you have this cylinder, right? And you imagine like the bottom of the cylinder is either like stagnant or stuck or something, right? And then you pull and twist the cylinder, right? And that's gonna end up causing the different parts of this cylinder to move, right? So it's gonna have like this kind of effect. Right? So, also Natsume-san, thank you for the subby for 27 months. Welcome to the Demon Army. Old man clothing, twist wrinkles. Would those be? Wait for me to come around. Hold on. Hold on. Wait for it. Boom. Trinkles. Thank you, Natsume-san. Also, welcome back, Seven. Hawkbar, thank you for the raid. How was your stream and what were you up to today? Welcome in, raiders. My name's LiLi, and today we're doing some study buddy courses for art today. So you're welcome to join in on the lessons. Happy to have you. Also, Seven with a hold on. Nyada 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 nyada. Ta-da. Good. Had a good stream? Oh, you're playing Overwatch too? I've only ever played the first Overwatch, back when it was like first came out. Ah, Overwatch dailies, nice. Who's your favorite Overwatch player? Screenshots are out, thank you, Blaze. I'll probably look at them maybe after the lesson, if that's okay. Or are you trying to like open it now to like do things? Oh, it's in Clip Studio. I can see. So that's just because you moved the file location, so Clip Studio just doesn't know where to find it anymore. If you open it like by going File Open, so like you can press on the paint button in the top left corner. And you should be able to find it. Fox also has got some, I guess, things here too, but it's just like you moved the file so it doesn't know where to search for it anymore. So if you just open the paint button, which is in the top left-hand corner, it'll open up just like a unopenable, like nothing open version of Clip Studio with no files open. And then if you just go like File, Open, and then find it in your browser, and then open it again, it'll be there next time. I never use those quick open things. I always just File Open, like from up here, you know? That was the easy fix, so. Yeah, I don't know what Fox is explaining, but it's just because you moved the file, so like Clip Studio is like, wait, it was saved here last time and now the name is gone. Where is it? And I think if you reopen the file, it'll find it again, but. Moira's a pretty good one. Also love Sigma. I did play some Moira. Some good picks. I was a big healer fan, so. But anyways, so back to the lesson. Yes, so for the first one we have is twist folds. And twists happen for when they're kind of being pulled in a direction. So they're more of like a tension pull. And so here I just have a kind of, a picture example of a blouse here that shows, I'll draw in purple, I guess, right now. Shows some of the curves here, right? So you can imagine that there's like a starting point up on the shoulder and kind of like ends down at the elbow, right? And these curves kind of follow like as if it was like a cylinder. You can kind of see how these shadows that are in the blouse follow a flow, right? And you can kind of see it here. So you can imagine, an easy way to look at it is imagining like this tube. Like remember when we broke the arms down into tubes? You can imagine a tube here, right? And these wrinkles are kind of following around the edge of the tube. So when it comes to drawing, right, the sleeve and the folds and stuff, you're gonna be wanting to follow that kind of like sweeping lines that will follow the start and the end point, right? So your lines are gonna wanna go diagonally around the cylinder or whatever it's twisting around, right? And looking quickly, I have down here, you can kind of break these shapes, these twists, into sort of long, like they're very long and skinny. So like when you're adding shadows and stuff, long pointed triangles are kind of like the direction you're gonna wanna go. So like you'll see where I've added shadows here, right? They're like long and thin, right? Let me do a better color. So you can see, right? These really long triangles. A lot of shadows are mostly just triangles and trapezoids. And then yes, for these twist folds or when it's in tension, the triangles tend to get smaller and thinner, right? And then another part of when you're trying to do fabric folds is you're trying to remember like the lighting and how it's going to affect or drop down too. So like I'm imagining this piece of fabric is going to be overlapping the piece underneath it, right? So that's why I added like a little bit of shadow underneath it. And yeah, you just kind of like want to keep adding shadows and lighting and stuff like that to where you think it'll be most effective, essentially. But the bumps and stuff like that, try to envision like how the fabric will overlap each other. And you'll notice in like something that is like a twist compared to some of the other examples we'll have, the bumps of overlapping will be much more long or straighter or smooth. So that's like the other kind of point that I wrote down here. Oh, I didn't write it on this one, but yeah, generally like these whole lines, they're very like long and smooth. Again, when I show like some of the other examples, it'll kind of like be easier to compare and contrast. And then it's like, okay, like where kind of are these types of folds usually found is kind of like an important thing to know. And good examples of them are often your like your forearms and just arms in general, because they can twist. You're looking for like any kind of joints that can like go 180 essentially. So like your wrist can start one way. Here, I'll show on here. This one was a really good picture that really explained, I think, twist folds. Is you'll notice like in the first picture here, it's the front of her palm, right? And then she twists, and like in here, there's no wrinkles because the hoodie is on straight, right? It hasn't been twisted or manipulated or anything yet, right? So we don't have many wrinkles through here, right? It's all smooth. There's a little bit on the side here because it's just like showing that it's like a baggy sweater or something, but this is like a different type of wrinkle, which is the gravity pulling down on the sweater. But right now we have no twist wrinkles at all, right? However, when she twists her wrist 180, right? That cuff that's on her sleeve here, right, is going to twist with the 180, and it's going to pull, like her elbow is still staying where it is, right? But the hand twists this way. So the fabric that's down here isn't going to be moving at all, but the fabric up here, right, has done a 180. Like if this is side one, this is like side two now, right? If that kind of makes sense. So with the arm in here, again, you can still imagine that like tube that's inside. It means that the side is going to flip, right? So as a result, we get these twist lines in here, right? And you'll notice like this bump, it went from like a very big bump to being much more smooth, right? Here, make it even bigger if I can, right? So like this big bump smoothed out quite a bit, and these twist lines follow all the way through. So yeah, that's like kind of the reasoning. See? And then again, these twists follow. So that is like a tension or a twist fold. Again, you can see it in this picture too. I was like, this shows really, really well those curve lines, right? And very small diamond shaped pockets, right? In here. Hello, Zen! Hope you have a good art session. Yes, thank you, thank you. We're doing folding clothes. We're doing our laundry today. But yeah, so that's this is your twist type fold. So then second, if we have something that is pulling in tension, the second type of fold would be compression, right? So pushing in on the fabric. So we have here, right? So you can imagine taking your hand and squishing like a can or something like that. You're applying a compression force to the fabric by pushing down on it, right? Or that force can also be something like gravity. So again, when I talked in the other one about the sleeve being pulled, it's being pulled down by gravity, right? So gravity is still a force that you need to consider. Yeah, so this one, you can kind of like see examples of it, right? Where we have little triangle pockets, right? So yeah, these shapes that come from a compression type force will create little like rounded rhombus pockets often. And the sides of these will bulge and bend a lot more, right? Than when it was just like straight and compressed, because it's got all that extra fabric and it doesn't know where to go, right? So it just pushes the fabric out, creating like much bigger bulges. Love that wrinkle texture, exactly. So that's how we get these like little pockets and bumps and divots when it's under compression. So it's like, where are these kinds of folds found typically? And it's like often when you push up like a sleeve or a pant leg or something like that, you'll get more of those like little pockets. Or on like baggy or oversized clothing, you'll get these kind of compressions, folds a lot more or heavier fabrics as well. Different fabric types will also give you different kind of effects. But yeah, so we have some like examples here of some like cargo pants, baggy cargo pants that are like pushed up. Because like, again, these are pushed up because they would be a lot longer on him, right? Like if this pant leg was able to go past his shoe, the pants would just be much longer, right? But he has them like smushed or squished up, causing all of these little wrinkles in the pants. And same thing with the like hoodie here. We have the little compression pocket wrinkles and stuff like that. Because it's big and baggy and stuff like that. And also being pushed up by that pocket, right? Putting their hand in the pocket pushes all the fabric up. And then this was just like an AI example, but I was like, yeah, it still shows kind of like the pockets and pushing well, I thought. But yeah, so that's when it's under compression. Then you can kind of like, again, see the difference between, you know, like when you look at something like this, compression versus the twist here. Maybe I'll show this example versus, where am I? Here we go. Yeah, there you go. So you can see like how much more the edges bulge compared to like a very straight arm, right? The lines here are much more like sleek and smooth compared to like the bulging and overlapping of fabric on something that's in compression. The pants do go past the shoe. They do. And then then things get complicated and you get like a pinch fold is what I'm going to call it. And this is when you get both tension and compression in the same instance. So the pinch or a combination fold gets more complicated. Is when the forces, there's both forces applied to it, right? So you're gonna have one side that's going to be in compression or squishing, and one side is going to be the opposite in tension, right? So we have compression on one side and tension on the other. On one side. So, examples of these are, again, like around joints, elbows, knees, your groin, ankles, wrists, anything that like bends at all is where you're gonna end up getting these types of folds. So like on here, we have the pants example. Or on the knee or the crotch or the groin area, you're gonna get those folds more often. So we have examples here. You can see kind of like the red and the blue, right? Showcasing like the different kinds of forces on this pant. So again, the pant here, you know, like in this middle section, we're having those twist folds, right? I still have them on here because I was like, it's still good to talk about. So like here, because this is that cylinder part and this leg is angly moving that way, right? It's like they're putting their leg out, which is making that angle or twist, causing the pants to have these kind of like little wrinkles here, right? That are being pulled and stretched in this direction. But for the actual pinched folds, we have that area is around the knee here, right? So again, the part that's in tension is very smooth, right? No bumps at all. So this half is very smooth and sleek, but the part that's in compression here, right, is a lot more bumpy. The folds are overlapping each other and you get those pockets, right? A lot more of those shadow pockets all over the knee. And same thing for like the groin areas too, right? You get some pockets and stuff like that. This one, because they're relatively, it's relatively straight here. If they had like their knee up towards their leg more, right? So if they had their leg up like this, that's in that crack is where you're gonna get a lot more of those like pockets and stuff, right? If their knee was up more. So they're relatively smooth here. You have a little bit of these compression folds just because of the gravity and stuff like that on them. And the way that they're pulling their leg out, there is a few, but for the most case, the groin on that picture was more small or more smooth. But I just like the knee mostly for this one. It showed it really well, I thought. And then yeah, like had another picture here to showcase like the sock, right? So that's like another joint between your, you know, toes and your the ball of your foot. There's another joint there. So again, the part that's in the tension side is very smooth, and then you have the part that all the fabric bunches up on for the compression side, right? And so yeah, or like these ones again, the knees and elbows and stuff like that. This one, it shows again more of those bends here because like they're walking forward. So if you like looked at their leg from the side, right? If this is their hip, right? They're walking, so like their leg here and their knee. Right? So this joint here is being bent and compressed, right? Whereas like if you were to look at it from the back, where their butt is, it would be under tension, right? So it would be a lot more smooth and less wrinkles. It's because they're like lifting up their leg, right? Whereas it happens the opposite on this leg, right? Where now this side, the clothing is in tension, right? So look how like there's very, very few wrinkles on this side, but the joint under their butt would have a lot more of those wrinkles, like on this side, right? So yeah, good example of it. And then yeah, so like for the shaping of what these pinched shapes, you're gonna kind of be like mixing the two shapes almost together a little bit, right? So like the pockets that were like trapezoidal pockets, they're gonna get pinched on one side. So it's gonna make more of a very wide like triangle shape or like a teardrop shape where it's like pinched in on one corner and then wider on the other. So yeah, the tension side will be like more smooth lines and stuff like that when you're doing it. And then the one side will have those bigger compression bumps and stuff like that with the pockets, the little triangle pockets of shadow. And yeah, the bumps are made from like overlapping pieces of fabric. So you can imagine like this piece of fabric is being pushed down and this piece is being pushed up, which makes like this piece pop out this way. If that kind of like hopefully visually makes sense. And that's why you get these like little pieces here and stuff like that, right? That are like highlighted. And it's because those are the parts of the fabric that are being pushed out, right? Yeah, and this one just was like another really good, I think, example where it shows all these like little rhombus and teardrop pockets, and then has like a very good representation of like those lines that are part of the caused by the tension, right? The like long straight lines, and they're like comboed together essentially to make the pinched type folds. And then kind of the last rough shape, I guess, would be just neutral, right? So something just draped onto something and there's no forces that are like pulling or pinching or anything at all. And then yeah, for these ones, so I just have an example of here of like, you know, a piece of fabric that's just draped over top of a ball, right? So there's often going to be a point, like if it's just put on top of something with gravity just acting on it, there's going to be a part where it has, I guess, the highest kind of like tension, or where it rests on it the most. And then the rest of the fabric will kind of billow over that point, right? And when it billows over, the edge of the fabric will get kind of like waves to it. You know, you can kind of see it here too, down here. I also have all these references and pictures put up in the Discord too. I forgot to mention that. So if you need to see them bigger, you can. But yeah, it creates like these little waves, right? Along the bottom, where the excess fabric just kind of folds naturally on top of each other. And then it'll also make like little pockets or valleys. It's kind of like mountains and valleys. That's a good way to explain it. Where you'll have mountains where the fabric comes out, and then valleys where the fabric is going in. So you'll have hard lines for those mountain peaks, and then you'll have little pockets for the valleys, right? And this example of this shirt, right? The woman's like breasts are holding a majority of the weight, right? The gravity is gonna have like, that's gonna be the most like stretched or like tensioned part of the shirt, where the shirt kind of rests. And underneath that, right? So like this area is like where there's gonna be the most tension or gravity pulling down on the shirt. And then underneath is where you're gonna have more of that loose billowing, and it's just kind of like loose for the gravity, right? To like freely move. So you can kind of see how those folds react. So like where the breast is, it's very smooth, right? Like there's barely anything. There's a couple of like little tension pulls here, just like as there's like extra fabric in the sleeve and stuff like that, and the tension from the breast versus the looseness here, it's just a little bit extra baggy, so you get a couple of folds. But for the actual draping, it's like smooth here, and then underneath, again, this is kind of like, it doesn't show it as much because there's not a lot of excess fabric on this one, so the edge is a little bit smoother, right? It doesn't quite have excess like this, like a dress would, right? So you do still just get more of like a smooth curve, right? Because there's not that extra fabric. It pretty much fits this shape exactly. So the edge of the t-shirt just becomes very, very smooth. And the wrinkles, as a result, you'll get like a couple of very long stretches and very tiny valleys, just because this shirt fits this model like very well, right? But you can get cases that are all different kinds of shapes and sizes and everything. But yeah, so like you can kind of see, again, this model's back, right? That's where it rests and hangs the most. So there's all that tension here, because this is where the fabric hits first, right? You could think of like the fabric like if it was like, I don't know how to describe. It was like if it was like gonna dump a bucket of paint, it's gonna hit here first, right? Same thing. So if you had a blanket or something, it mostly gets held up by here. And then underneath, that's where all these draping wrinkles start to happen, right? And again, they're very like triangle shaped, or not triangle, sorry, very almost like a U shape shadow. So it creates like U-like pockets. That's what I have as an example here, right? And you'll get like these lines for the mountains folds, and then like a U shape for the valley. So that's why we have like those kind of difference between a line, a hard line in drawing clothing versus like a shadow, which is just showing like the difference between a mountain peak versus like a valley. It like tells you that information, and then that's what gives your clothing depth and doesn't make it look like a 2D piece of paper, right? So of course this shirt is like tucked in, so you're just gonna have like the little billows at the bottom. But if there's lots of extra fabric, I liked this one for like kind of capes or dresses, right, that have a lot of fabric. You get these like waves or frills or ruffles or whatever you want to call them, right, along the hem. And that goes back to like these wave shapes that kind of look like this. And again, like if you want to draw ruffles, this is how you draw them, right? You draw a wave, and then on these inner corners, you have the back side of the fabric, right? So this is like the back side, right? Draw them darker so you can kind of see. And then this is like the top side, right? So it would kind of look like that. So that's how you like draw ruffles. Because the ruffles are just loose fabric, right? They're not being pulled or pushed or stretched or anything. It's just loose fabric that's hanging there. And then they'll have like a gather on one side. And that gather is like applying a compression in a way, like a man-made compression in the fabric. And that's why you get like these wrinkles up here for the mountains, because there's like a gather up here. But you can see you know, you would have like your more hard mountain lines where, you know, the fabric is protruding up. This one kind of comes down and up, so it's a little bit weird, but you would have like, you know, your pocket here, right? Something like that. And then like hard mountain. And then yeah, you'll see like the little pieces of fabric underneath. But hopefully like you can kind of visualize this a little better when there's like lots and lots of extra fabric in a skirt or a dress. That's when you get those like wave-like, it's called a hem on the bottom of your clothing, like the hem of a dress, or the hem on the bottom of here, or at the hem of the bottom of your pants. Anytime like there's an edge that has been rolled in fabric, it's called a hem. So yeah, the hem will become much more like a wave when there's like lots of excess fabric and it's not something like form-fitting. So the same thing is for like capes, right? I think capes are also like a really good example of these like kind of big mountain pockets. And then it's just a lot of fabric. But you can imagine, right, that this edge here would come back behind here and loop around. And then it's finally being seen, right? And then it kind of goes like this and then back, right? So it still has that very like wave hem to the bottom of it. And then you have those valleys underneath. So yeah, capes are kind of the same idea. And then you can also get like draping folds kind of from this too, which is again, it's just, this is where the tension is, right? So then because gravity, it's gonna kind of pull them down and create this U, right? For these drapes. So you can imagine like the curtains and stuff like that. And then the bottom still has like those wiggly edges or wave-like edges. But yeah, so those are kind of like understanding. This is a lot to take in for wrinkles. Wrinkles and folds in clothes are very tricky, but hopefully like by looking at each different type, it's not that complicated, right? There's basically only 4 different types, right? So you can handle it. You just gotta remember twists. There's twists, which is when it's in tension. Tension, skinny triangles. Here, we'll see if we can like break it down into a... So we've got twists. Also, by the goes, thank you for the follow and welcome to the Foxfires. Down. All right, so we got 1 is we have twist folds. We got 2 is what do I call them? Pushed or pressed. And we got combined. So mixing the 2, I called them pinch or combined. So this one, right? Like you don't have to learn anything new for this one because this one is just the combination of these 2, right? And then we have draped. Is that how you spell draped? Draped or like neutral or just like tossed on top, right? So these ones, twists, right, are in tension. Then we have pushed are in compression. Then we have pinched, which is combined. I don't know how to do that for color. Wait, blue and red makes purple. Oh, but I made draped purple. That's more confusing. This one should be purple. So it's combined. It's both tension and compression. Or wait, I'll do this actually. This makes, I think, better sense visually. Tension on one side with compression on the other side, right? And then we have draped, which is just neutral. Sorry if I ever spell anything wrong. I am not a speller. Right? So this one is just a combination of this one and this one. Trying to like find a way to show this visually. So number 3 is you don't have to like learn a new type of fold because it is just those two into one, right? But the brain wrinkles. It needs brain wrinkles. And then the 4 is just neutral, right? So you only have to kind of learn about 3 different shapes-ish. So for tension, right, we're gonna have, let's do it in black. Your lines are gonna be smooth lines, right? Or straight lines. And then the pockets, let's go lines. And shadow. I left just enough space here, didn't I? It's perfect. It's like I planned it. I totally planned it. All right, so your lines, right, are gonna be smooth. So less bumps, right? Smooth outer edge lines. And then your shadow is gonna be like thin triangles. Thin triangles, right? Real skinny guys. I'll write like skinny. Skinny. And then I like move this over. I'm gonna have to re-upload these. I'll take a picture of this little note thing too and add it into the Discord. Question some of my words to not being sure if spelled right. That's me. All right, and then for compression, they're gonna be bumpy. And the shadows are gonna be wider trapezoids, right? So 1 and 2 are just opposites of each other, right? So you just kind of remember skinny shadows for twist type folds and trapezoids or wider shadows for compression, right? And then pinch is just a combination of those two. So you kind of end up getting just like these, like one side is super squish, kind of wide triangle on one side, or like a teardrop type shape, right? So we're gonna say the lines become a mix, right? You get smooth one side, bumpy on the other. So the lines are mixed, you have both. Mixed or both. And then the shape is, again, you're just mixing these two shapes together now, right? So you're gonna get more skinny on the one side of the shadow, and then fat on the other. Or like teardrop. Right? So I'll just call it teardrop. And then, so like, you just have to learn 1 and 2, and then 3 just becomes a mixture of the other 2 that you just learned, right? So 3 is pretty easy, because it's just the first 2 essentially that you kind of need to learn and get practice with. And then for draped, the neutral, it becomes smooth. Smooth lines with a wavy edge. For big, loose fabric, you know, dresses and stuff like that. So smooth and then wavy edge, you gotta remember. And then the shadows are U-shaped. Squished it all in. The cheat sheet. So that's like basically everything here summed up. I'm gonna see if we can like make kind of a cheat sheet for this. Cheat sheet. And then let's see if we can grab some of those examples, right? And just put one of them in. Here, I'll do the one that I drew, I guess. This is 1. And then 2. 2. And 3. It's here. There we go. There you go. So kind of like a little bit more of a cheat sheet for kind of the shapes, right? Zooming in so you guys can really see it. I tried following along writing those down to work on taking notes. Went bad, wrote too big, and had the same blur, so I can't change it without getting rid of the background. That's okay. I do have all of these notes and pictures. I have them in the Discord for you guys. But yes, it is good to write your own notes because you'll remember it a little bit better, right? But you don't have to write down like everything that kind of what I was saying and talking about, because that's just more of like the understanding of the forces on a fabric. You will need to understand those in order to know why you choose to use certain wrinkles in certain places, right? So it's just good to understand kind of the forces behind what is happening on a piece of clothing, and we'll like find a couple of examples, and we'll like kind of look and analyze those folds here in a second. But when it comes to actually drawing, like right now we're just recognizing and learning why you have different looking folds for different places, because we're doing that study. It's like kind of doing anatomy study, right? Where if you study the muscles, you know where the shadowing and stuff is on said muscles. Well, it's the same way here. Is if we understand the forces that are happening on our fabric and clothing, we can more accurately depict what it looks like, and then that makes our drawings and art more believable or looks better, essentially, right? Need some water, my throat. Sorry from talking. But yeah, so here's like kind of like a little cheat sheet of when it actually comes to drawing things. The things to keep in mind is when you're drawing a twist fold, you know, you want them smoother, skinny triangles, and that is right here, right? Smaller, skinny triangles. And then when it comes to push or compression, you're gonna get bigger, bumpy, and more wide trapezoid type pockets, rounded trapezoids. And then the combination, one side, you get those more teardrop pockets, because one side of that trapezoid is now gonna be pinched, right? Or pulled in because of the tension side. So it makes one side smoother or skinnier, and the other side keeps that big bumpy trapezoid, right? So that's why it makes more of a teardrop or rounded trapezoid skinnier pocket, right? And then draped is just like loose clothing on top. So I didn't have like an example of that, I guess. I think I deleted my drawn one, unfortunately. I did. I drew one nicely on here. It's gone now. But it's kind of like its own category. Like for when we're drawing shapes, it's just very important to understand, I think, these three the most. And then draped is just like U-shapes, mountain, valley, wave. That's what you gotta remember. It's just the draped. The big thing with the draped, I think, is when there's a lot of excess fabric, you get that wave to it, and you could think of like a pretty sundress has that like rounded or waved hem to it, right? So I think that's like the big takeaway from draped or neutral. But yeah, so let's look at some examples. So I haven't found any specific ones, but I figured we'd do some like analysis of different clothing types. So I'm just gonna like search for women's blouse, for example. And we're just gonna look at real world examples and analyze like where the folds are, right, and stuff. So let's find, or like identify the different types of folds or wrinkles. Did I not spell, maybe just blouse? What should I search for? It's gonna get me some, you know, good stock blouse photos. Actually, this one isn't too bad. Oops, not what I want. Because this kind of shows your different positions and different wrinkles. Draw on top of it, so I'm just gonna reduce the opacity a little bit. There you go. Okay, so I like this because like it kind of has different, it's the same type of clothing and same model and stuff, so I kind of like this because we'll have like the different forces pulling on the same shirt to kind of look at the different effects. So again, it's very like loose and baggy. So I'm ending up seeing like a lot of these compression. Like look at like this big bump here, right? And another bump before it gets pulled into the collar. Because this arm, because it's really baggy, and then this cuff is stopping all that loose fabric from falling down his hand, right? Over top of his hand. And then as a result, we can see these big, wide triangle pockets. And big fabric overlaps, right? Big triangles because it's very loose and baggy. Can you guys see kind of those? There it is. Big wide patches of or pockets in that sleeve. And then of course we get smooth at the shoulder, right? Because that's where it's just naturally sitting, right? On top of here. So this kind of becomes purple because that's where the natural draping occurs, right? And sure, you get like a couple of little tension pulls here from his shoulder moving back this way, right? So those straight tension lines go in the direction of the tension because this button is holding it here and this shoulder is pulling it back, right? So there's two opposing forces here, which causes these wrinkles here, right? And then big again, the gravity is pulling, you know, this collar and part of the baggy shirt down, and they're also creating a bit of a pinch here, right? So this side is all bumpy, right? Because their body is going from straight up and down to this way, right? Like their hip. They're like bending to the side, right? So it ends up creating that pinch type. So look at how smooth this side of the shirt is compared to the other side, right? You can really see that difference in the pinch. Well, a Facebook group called Comic Swipes. And sometimes they find that a fashion model or swimsuit model's picture inspired a comic book artist to draw a superhero in the same pose. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Artists use like real photo reference stuff all the time, and you should. It'll improve your art so much. But yeah, and again, you get like so many of these like pockets of shadows on the side where it's very compressed again, right? And like this doesn't have to be like pretty. We're not trying to like trace this to make it look pretty. Right now we're just analyzing why certain shapes are showing up in different places. And I think this is like a really good exercise for any of you artists that are first starting out with this kind of stuff. Just find pictures of blouses and stuff. Like if you struggle with drawing clothing shadows and wrinkles and stuff like that, just start like Googling different types of clothing and observing how they look. Also, don't forget to save your work. Thank you for the hydration, Jeannie, and I am saving now. Thank you. Also, thank you so much for the follow, and welcome to the Foxfires. No. Welcome in on the lesson. Hope you're doing well. But yeah, you can see like so many of these shadow pockets are way wider on the side, right? And it shows all those little like compressive pockets. Whereas on the tension side of his body, because you could think of his like torso, right? His torso is just one big cylinder, right? And you can see these much more like skinny triangles, right? Like the shadows here are much longer and skinnier. And again, it's also because of the draping, you get more of those like kind of U shapes as well into the kind of tension side. And again, these buttons are just causing tension with gravity, and they're being stuck here by the buttons. So you do just get a couple of little tension pockets down here. And then the other arm, again, the point where the fabric falls on and is held up primarily is on the shoulder here. So again, this is kind of being the drape section, so it's smooth. And then we have down this arm, we have a little more of those compression, because it's just very baggy on him, the shirt in general, right? I can't really tell where the other side of the shirt is here because it's kind of bitmapped, but it looks like it's something like that. You know, lots of pockets on that side of the shirt. And then, so that's our first one. I really like this study for this picture. Like if you can find more pictures that are like this, where it's the same shirt on the model but in different poses and stuff like that, I think it's really good because you're working with the exact same fabric, but you can see how like different things look. Like this shirt example compared to like this shirt example, right? Look at the amount of wrinkles on this pose compared to this pose, right? It really shows like the difference of like movement or manipulation, because like this one, he's just like standing here, right? He's not really doing anything. He's not bending, twisting. It's just kind of very neutral. So you just get a lot of the draping, right? Maybe we can do this one next, right? Like very straight, smooth. Maybe like a couple U pockets in here or there, just like where there's like little bits of force and stuff, right? But it's mostly just like straight. And then again, straight here, but the sleeves are still too big for him. So we do still have the pocketing again, because this hand is pushing up and creating these pockets here. Zoom in on this one more, right? So it's still creating these wide pockets where the shirt is being pushed up. I struggle to even draw a line, so I doubt I'd be able to draw something good. I mean, everybody starts somewhere. Mostly, like, art is definitely not something that you just naturally have. It just honestly comes with doing a ton of it over and over and over again, and then very careful observations. So having good observation skills can make a good artist, but having good observation skills just comes with practice and learning too, so. But yeah, anybody can draw if you set your mind to it, but there's also like, well, I don't really want to learn to draw, and that's fine too. But if it's something you want to be able to do, you can do it, I believe. But yeah, so like, again, because it's too big for him here, again, we get these kind of big, bumpy, chunky, right? And now, again, actually, I had this part, because his shoulder is here, right? Or shoulder, his elbow is here, and it's pushing out on this side, right? Remember, elbows, necks, like any kind of joint, knees, you're gonna have those pinching folds in, and because he's bending his arm, we create that pinching, right? So this starts to smooth out, right? Back through here. You get more of those shades that are longer and more pointed, right? Whereas back here, and you got more big, chunkier. And then again, that teardrop shape, right? Like it goes skinny where it's being pinched, and then it's wider on the outside, right? Because this is the pinch type. So instead of big, wide, square, chunky ones, we have more of a pinched shadow, right? Hello, Bubby Jr., welcome in. Elbow, shoulder, close enough. Stickman's the best way to go. I've been doing Stickman since I was able to hold a pencil or a pen. And there's people out there that will make an entire art career based on Stickman. I mean, there's like the guy, I think it's like Stickman Dojo or something, right? And he just does full-on animations of stick people, and they're amazing. They're so good. So you can be an artist and just draw Stickman. It is possible. So again, we have the shoulders, right? Like holding all the weight on top. And then because we have fabric here, it is creating little tiny, kind of like micro compression folds, right? Because the fabric is being like gathered together at the top, and that's just how like a shirt is made. But that's just why there is wrinkles here, is because there's little tiny gathers, but that's more of like understanding how fabric or how a shirt is constructed. So I just know that's why that those are there. And that kind of comes with just looking at different types of clothing and how they're made, and you'll start to like see those types of things. Like in a sundress, you know, all the fabric is gathered against up at the waist, right? And it's just understanding how fabric is made. But if you look at lots of examples as an artist, you'll kind of see patterns and stuff like that. So that just comes with time and learning. But then on the back side, again, on this shirt, it's being just hanging freely, right? And then right at the bottom, because the shirt is tucked in, we get that compression, right? Along the bottom, because the shirt is tucked. So again, you get a couple more like bigger shadows right at the bottom there, right? But yeah, so you can see the kind of difference, right? So this one is mostly just like draped cloth on top of his body, right? There's not a lot of movement that he's doing or forces that are acting onto that shirt, so it's just relatively straight and not a lot of curves or bumps or anything to it. It's very smooth. There's some neat stickman animations out there, exactly. Alan Becker, the one and only. I remember him like it was yesterday. Is that who does the stickman animations? Sure, we'll leave this middle one till last because this one is also very similar to the other one. This one. So again, shoulders, holding all of that weight there. You do actually get a little bit, so it kind of starts here, but because his hand, it's pulling, right? It's pulling that fabric this way, and it's caught on his shoulder here, right? So you get a little bit of that tension pull, right? Again, like a little tiny triangle or so, skinny triangle of shadow, showcasing that kind of pull. And then because there's this little bit of a pull, you do get a little bit of a bumping. And again, it's not like bulged like the compression. You do still, it's like smooth, but you can sometimes have like this overlapping of fabric when they're pinched and pulled and stuff like that. So you just get like a medium. You get like super smooth, like the super smooth of just like the cloth on the highest tension point is like as flat as it can go. But tension, you can still get like little baby wrinkles, right? Little baby wrinkles, medium sized. Why is it different colors? Oh, we're using the same, so we've been going through and doing a lesson, and the different colors show the different types of tension that we're experiencing. So you could think of like when you have like a stick or something, you can pull the stick apart, or you can push the stick, or maybe like a slinky, right? You can pull the slinky apart, or you can push the slinky together. And that's just like tension is when you're pulling something apart. Compression is when you're pushing it together, right, with forces. So blue is when something is in tension, and red is when something's in compression. And then I've been just using purple for neutral, meaning there's like no forces being acted on the piece of clothing, right? And this is like how we're going to kind of recognize the different forces that are applied onto the model's shirt to recognize what type of wrinkle we're drawing, essentially. Keith Haring was an 80s artist who's known for simple drawings. Exactly. You don't have to like draw crazy to do amazing art. Stickman animations. Deep storyline and character development in those animations. Yeah, for sure. Bags! Chips! Fox says food. But yeah, so that's why we're just like, right now we're doing a study. So we're just like observing and looking at the wrinkles. Yeah, so that hand is causing a little bit of tension on the fabric with the shoulder. And then of course, we got the sleeve edge here and nothing really forcing on this edge, so it's very smooth and straight. And then his shoulder is pulled forward ever so slightly, right? It's kind of like coming towards the camera a little bit. So that's why you have this very subtle, because again, the more you pinch something, the bigger like those compressions are going to kind of be, right? Or the more squished together they're going to be. So we do have a little bit of this compression happening just right here, right? Of where it's just barely folding in half at where his elbow is. And drop a follow and learn some new things in the future because it's always very nice. Absolutely. Yeah, we do art lessons every Tuesday night. So, and thank you for the follow and welcome to the Foxfires. Go. I'm very much one of those people that I just like to learn things too. Even if it's not something I'm particularly interested, I just like learning. Yeah, so you get a little bit of compression right at that corner here, right? And then it goes back to being relatively unaffected down his arm, right? But then we run back into that same compression from the sleeve being pushed up. Right? Uncle Lunar, hello Lily. Are we arting today? We are. Don't forget to hydrate and keep those wrists and fingers stretched. Have a good stream. Thank you, Lunar. I need the hydrations while I'm teaching. Lesson day is big hydration day. And then yeah, again, we got more of these trapezoid type shapes, right? And you'll notice too, like again, there becomes like when they are more compressed together. Let me zoom in more too so you guys can really see it. And again, you're gonna get more of those pockets, and those pockets are gonna become more and more squished and frequent when you get closer to the force that's applying the pressure, right? So because this sleeve is pushing up, or I guess technically gravity is pushing down, it becomes smaller and smaller for those like little pockets, and they'll be bigger where it's less affected, right? Because it kind of stretches it out. Lily, can I honestly just call you Lily? It sounds more natural, and it's also pretty nice in my opinion. Lots of people will also say Lily. I just use Lily, which is just like L-E-E, like Lily. Because Lily is one of my OC characters, and she has a Chinese name. So then that's just kind of the pronunciation for it. But it also gets used as if you have an American name like Lily, then you're probably going to be called Li in a Chinese name, because that's just the pronunciation. So it's fine either way. But yeah, and then, so again, there's kind of like a very like loose shadow here, which is just your like valley fold and a mountain and valley. And then we have more where this, shirt gets tucked in. You have more of those compressions. I need my cones now that I'm free from work. That's me sad. Cone. Also, congratulations on being off work. Ready to start your evening or day. I assume evening. I'm pretty sure your time zone's pretty similar to mine, if not the same. So yeah, again, more of these. Oh, and then this is more of a triangle again because we're getting closer to the sleeve, right? Or the sleeve, the elbow, right? So you're getting more of those like teardrops. And then lots of bumps and compressions up here. And then much smoother where the elbow becomes in tension, right? Because his elbow's right here. So it's actually probably something more like that, but you get the idea. It's hard to tell on where the edge of the shirt is with this gray shadow on gray background. Yeah, almost there. You're same time zone as me. For now, no worries. I need some sleep, and I got none yet. So have a good night, sweet dreams to you. Cool gamer, welcome in. Or welcome in. Have a good night. My brain is melting. Yeah. So then, of course, there's just the edge of the sleeve. Edge of the wrist cuff there. And then this guy is just naturally, again, his arm is like right here, right? So this fabric is just naturally falling against their arm as it goes into the compression. It's probably like this. So yeah, there is the forces on that shirt. And then this guy, I think this one's a really good example. It's more complicated, but I think it's really, really good. So again, we have this part where the fabric falls just naturally, right? And down his back. This is like right up against his back, right? Then we have a pulling in tension, right? So his arm is pulling the fabric this way, right? But his back here is keeping the fabric from being pulled, right? So we have this kind of like opposing force, this tension point in his sleeve or shoulder. So again, you'll notice all the shadows here. They're very smooth if they are bumps. Everything is just kind of being pulled and twisted down to that elbow, right? And same thing. We have a little bit of like some twists and tensions going on here. I feel like I should have just done one specifically in tension versus twist. But they both use kind of like the same things. But so we have like a little bit of like rotating that's happening in his arm right here, right? So because his shoulder is kind of like, how am I gonna show this? Kind of like turning a little bit, right? It's going this way a little bit. The shoulder and elbow is turning in just a little, just a hair. So we get a little bit of these twist wrinkles up here on the top of the sleeve. And then this is obviously the elbow has like that highest bit of tension there, which is pulling these straight down towards it, right? And then the elbow is that point of the pinch, right? So we get a little bit of both. We can't see the other side though, because like all the bunched up compressions are gonna be on the inside of that sleeve, right? So mostly everything is all smooth here because we're looking at it from the tension side, but it is a joint. So you do have that pinching or combination of effects. And then we have these guys, which is again just because of the baggy shirt. And then it actually straightens a little bit here just because of the pinch. So even though it is still a little bit baggy, it's kind of using every piece of fabric for this pull, right? And then it keeps all the bag on this side. So you could kind of think of this whole arm section as a bit of a pinch, and we're just looking at the tension side of it, right? And of course, we then also have kind of these pockets or trapezoids along here for the compression. And then this kind of is pulling as well. So this one is because of gravity. So normally, gravity would just be pulling down on this shirt, right? And it would be neutral, right? But because he has pushed or like flung the shirt out, gravity is no longer like pulling straight down anymore, right? Gravity it's actually centripetal force. We're getting into physics now. Is kind of pulling it out to the side now, right? Because of the action shot. So it's going to be actually pulling, since the shirt is caught here, right? By the armpit, right? The sleeve, the bottom of the sleeve. And then gravity is going to be pulling from that sleeve, and it's going to be pulling it this way, right? So we have act of tension on that piece of clothing. So then you end up getting these very smooth, straight lines, right? Kind of like pulling the shirt this way. Physics 101 starring LiLi. Science now too. You didn't think art would get into science. It's science, it's physics, it's biology. You thought art was just art. Just kidding, we're bringing it all in. And then yeah, edge of this is going the same way. And then the edge is relatively straight. I guess that would be kind of like neutral edge there at the bottom. And then back here, I can't really tell. I just assume, oh yeah, it is actually, because this, is now, see how it wraps back around? So because we have draping here going on, right? We're gonna get this wavy hem on the bottom of this shirt. where it comes back around, it circles back around, right, behind the shirt, and then it actually comes back out here. So this is like the inside of the shirt, right? Right back down here. I'll zoom in even more. Enhance. And then you can see it wave here. And then I think it goes back like that. Right? So we get that wavy hem. We get the kind of like U-shaped shadowing here. And then that mountain edge for right there. Well, there you go. I like cloth. Cloth is complicated. Also, hello, Shade Darkfire. Welcome in. Science with the floof. I'm down. I love science. I mean, I have an engineering degree, so I guess checks out. Checks out. Yeah. So there are, I really, really like this example because like that is so many different like, here, maybe I'll post this as well. So we have like blue is tension. And I can post this too. Make us a little key. Red is compression. And then purple is neutral. So I can post this as well so you guys can see it. Here, I'll add some like kind of forces on some of these, right? So you can kind of see the forces making the biggest changes. But yeah, I definitely highly recommend you guys finding photos and just analyzing and picking apart kind of like why there are folds in certain areas and just kind of starting to recognize why they're there, essentially. And that's gonna help you know that when you go to draw your own shirts and stuff, like then you'll know, oh, you know, like my model is posed in this way, which means that there's gonna be more bumps on this side of the shirt versus on this side it's gonna be more smooth because it's up against their body and stuff, right? It's very much like learning to recognize why we have these different types of folds. And Isham touches on it in their course, but I think they just kind of briefly talk about it, and I think it's really good to just kind of like go through and do some studies, just look at real clothing and just like why we study anatomy. It's like the same idea as why we study anatomy. If we study the anatomy, we're gonna be able to draw the body better. Same thing is if we study why clothing moves certain ways, we're gonna be able to draw folds that look more realistic and more believable. So yeah, highly, highly recommend. Take some photos and just kind of like apply and walk through like what I just did if you wanna study it yourself. So I will be doing the same thing too. So also I need to turn the light on, it's getting dark. Physics leads to gorgeous hair needles. Wind-swept hair. Some wind-swept hair. But yeah, that is pretty much the lesson. I would say. I know Isham goes through and they actually draw some clothing onto different models. So that's kind of like, I guess, the homework to go through. This is just teaching how to draw like a pleated skirt and stuff like that. So that's kind of like extra and specific, I guess, knowledge, or like drawing ruffles, which I kind of talked about a little bit. But they didn't actually talk about that in the video. It's just like the homework in the little homework package they gave out. I think this one's like a good showing too of because it's like hard to show that thigh angle doing those pinching folds, but very good example there. Then yeah, they draw much more believable folds than me. They're very good at it. I'm very, very poor at it still, but I'm learning. Hair's like my favorite part of art, especially watching. Oh, absolutely. I love drawing hair too. It's definitely my favorite part too. Yeah. So I'm actually going to post, as we're kind of finishing up here, I will do my best for my homework to do kind of like what they've done here, where they drew out a model with some shading and stuff. Do a hoodie and a sundress. So I will do the same. Yeah, just analyze some clothes and wrinkles over the folds this week. Absolutely. Hold on drawing clothes till next week, or draw clothes this week. You can, if you're feeling confident, definitely feel free to start drawing. Like if you're like, I got a handle on this, I want to start applying it, absolutely go ahead and draw some of your own clothing. But I think, again, we're going to take 2 weeks to do this. Again, they only have it as 1 week, but I'm like, folds and clothing is so complicated. So I think it's good to look at more examples and do some more practice and stuff like that personally. So I'll be starting, I kind of done some analysis this week already, so I'm gonna start probably looking at practicing. But yeah, next week we'll just start drawing some different clothings on models and stuff like that, I think. So gives us lots of time. So yeah, this week will be mostly just tracing over very easy artwork. It's a good start. Just trace over, draw your different types of folds. You can practice drawing what you see as well. So like you can, instead of like drawing from scratch, like Isham in the tutorial just goes straight to drawing from scratch. Take an example, like just draw this sleeve and try to add in the shades yourself, right? Like just go and start like doodling and trying to draw the sleeve, you know, yourself. And like adding in the shades and whatnot. And how often you can like draw the shades is draw the pocket out with your lasso tool with M, and then switch to your shade tool, like how we did the lips, and then just add in that shading. And then you can also erase little bits too of the line, and that helps it look more natural as well too. So like where there's a deeper pocket versus not as deep pocket, you can kind of do that. So feel free to shade in your pockets that way too. I didn't explain that, but you know, draw it with M, add in a little bit of color shading and stuff, looking at your example, of course, and then like drop it and then be like, oh, let's like have a deeper pocket there than I do down here, so I'm gonna erase it a little bit, and that'll help it look more natural. You can leave it if it's like a really dark pocket. This one is like very light overall, you know, kind of like mimic what you're seeing in the picture, right? So yeah, do this. Definitely draw like the reference, and it's just like the same thing that we were doing for like body and feet and all these things. We're just redrawing what we see and taking that practice in, because that's just gonna teach us overall how to draw better, right? Yeah, showing motion for sure. Also, welcome in, Random Bud Luck. We're just finishing up. Yeah, so expressive for sure. Hair is wonderful that way. Yeah, I'll try Isham's 2 homework drawings, the hoodie and the dress, near the end of this week then. Yeah, sounds good, because that's probably where we're gonna be starting up and drawing next Tuesday. We'll be trying to make and draw our own clothing on top of models. So, how many art classes have we done so far? We've been going since March, so quite a few. Quite a few. I don't know how many there are in the playlist yet. We did have a little bit of time off. We've had a couple of weeks that we've skipped and stuff like that, but let's see. Learn art playlist. You need playlist at the end. There is a playlist. I have a VOD channel on YouTube, so you can see all of my VODs, whether it be art or gaming and stuff like that, all on my VOD channel. And yeah, there is a playlist for the Learn Art playlist, which is all of my lessons and learning that I've been going through are all archived there, so you can watch them in order and see us grow over time. We are just ending. We're just coming to the end of chapter 3, and I think there is 5 chapters total. But the chapters have different amounts of length between all of them, so I don't actually know how close we are to finishing the course. A lot of value in this course, though. It was pretty pricey. I think it was like $260 American. So I paid like probably like 300 USD or 300 Canadian for it, or something like that. But there's a lot of it's very long. Like, again, we've been going through this since March, so we are on. Oh, I might not have it all downloaded right. I have to actually like open Coloso, which I can't open while I'm streaming because it's got like blocks on it, because it's like a learning tool, right? So they won't want you to like just broadcast the lessons for everybody for free, right? Today's study, Tracing Husbandos. We were doing fabric studies today. Purpley. Oh, purple yam. I said it wrong. Purple yam. Welcome in. Yeah, we're just finishing up. We talked about the different types of wrinkles that you can have. So many husbando. Hello, Grimo. Welcome in. And Antega, hello, hello. Oh, and hydrate. Thank you, 7. Hydrating now. I approve of these studies. Are you approving just because there's a pretty husbando? Because I would too. That's why I'm doing these studies, is so I can draw more pretty boys, right? That's all I want. I want to draw all the pretty boys. But yeah, so twist folds, summary, push folds, pinch folds, and drape folds. Those were kind of the 3. We had our little and our little summary. Let me before I forget, actually, let me export these. So this is the little cheat sheet, and upload them to the Discord. So we have our little cheat sheet. Where are we? Where is clothing? Feet, hair, mouth. Where's my clothing ones? Screenshots for Discord. We have clothing. There it is. Clothing, and then we're gonna call this lesson 5. Export that. So organized. yeah, if you're an artist yourself and you're looking for some art lesson type stuff, I've been going through and following the Isham or 2SHAM course on Coloso. They're a Korean artist and they're amazing. So I've just been following their course to help myself learn things better. But I was like, you guys might want to like practice and stuff with me, so you can either buy the course and follow along with me that way, or if you can't afford to buy the course and stuff, I try to summarize my learnings and findings and speak them back to you guys. So if you can't afford, a $300 Coloso course, you could try to learn from me. And I'm like, I'm not the best teacher, but if it helps you, I'm here to help. So I'm just basically taking my own notes and doing my own study with this course, and then you guys can sit in the co-pilot seat and learn for free with me. Free course. Well, it's a LiLi course, so it might be a little suspicious, but I'm happy. If you guys can learn anything from me, I'm very happy. So I approve of LiLi's teaching. Thank you, Blaze. I love to get to the point where I can do group drawings of some of the funny VTubers who play IDV on Mondays. Absolutely, I would love to see that. Would love to see that. I have someone else trying to do something in Minecraft server and I died so many times. Oh no! Rip Hamp. Learning from the floop is much more entertaining. I'm happy I can help. It just kind of like takes a bunch of lessons and makes it more bite-sized. And like I said, there's parts where I'm like, I know I struggle in art on this, so I'm taking a little bit longer and doing things a little bit more thorough and stuff like that compared to maybe some other parts and whatnot. I might go through them a little bit quicker. But hopefully it's still some bit of teaching. And I mean, that is like any kind of art, is you're gonna learn from a whole bunch of different resources. And I mean, that's how you get different art styles and stuff, right? Is people learning and picking different things that they like, and learning in different ways. Like we did foots last week, and it's like I've found like 3 artists and they draw foots all differently, like they all start with different building blocks but draw the same thing. So it's a amalgamation of a bunch of masters and teachers handing down different tricks and stuff like that, and you learn different pieces of knowledge from different people. So yeah, learning art is fun. To say you're finishing just lesson or stream, I'll probably finish up both. I've been on my computers all day and I can feel my eyes really strained today. So that's why I was like, I'll probably just go into just teaching the lessons and then be finished, so. Your great feats or feats? Feats. We drew feats last week. We had the gripper stream. Last week and the week before were drawing foots, feet. Toes. No toes. We didn't quite go into toes. We just did socks because I was like, that's good enough for what we're drawing. The gripper stream, yep. Most people don't need to do the toe sides unless you're drawing like a bikini or a bathing suit, like summer art type stuff. That's when the dogs get out, But yeah. So I'll export this and I'll export my example with the, as Purple Yam put it, pretty boy. I'll export this too so you guys can see what we talked about here and relook at it if you need it. But yeah, I could like show you too, like, oh, was there a Nyada? Sorry, bad luck. You ready? Nyada, 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 nyada. Thank you, Blaze, for catching that. And I'm going to add clothing lesson number 6. You guys get 6 pages of lessons from me today. It's a lot. Like I said, I was like, this is gonna be probably a bigger lesson. Like, we didn't do any previous catch-up or critiques, and we are only 50 minutes under, so it was a longer lesson today. Lots to learn. But yeah, so for your homework, like I said, if you're following along, find pictures on the internet. Just Google different clothings like women's blouse or men's dress shirt or dress pants or summer dress and stuff, and just find clothing that you think is interesting or has cool wrinkles or folds or anything that you want to study from. And yeah, just try to keep in mind where the different forces and stuff are pulling on the fabric and drawing it out kind of like this and looking. And then if you get kind of a handle on that, of doing like a practice of that, definitely just find an article of clothing and start drawing and trying to match the reference. So it is a very fancy fabric. I agree. It is a very beautiful like silk. Or not chiffon, is it? Yeah, maybe chiffon. Or probably like maybe like a polyester. 100% polyester shirt. All right. So let me just upload those now. Before I get too far. Find the course room, and I'm going to upload. So yeah, sorry today wasn't as much of a following along drawing session. It was a lot more just theory today. But since I'm ending a little bit early just because my eyes are tired, you could take, like usually we do like the 3-hour course, you could take the last hour and just start doing some of these drawing practices yourself actually. That's a good idea. Since you're already sitting down with your tablet probably open watching, you could sit down and find some references and get some homework done. Actually, I won't pin those ones, it's fine. Those ones will be just there. There we go. So the homework is in the Discord for that. And then yeah, we're gonna find somebody probably to raid. I think it might be DM's birthday, so I'll probably go raid them if they are still on. You have such a good teaching voice. I feel positively charged or encouraged. Why did I get charged? I don't know where I got that from. But yay, I'm glad. I've been told lots that I have a good teaching voice or like a tutorial talking voice and stuff, because I've done a couple of Warudo tutorials too, and people said my voice is very good for it there as well. What? I don't know what you mean. Did you finish? Dang it. Dang it. I missed the DM birthday stream, but that's okay. I feel like I'm in the cool art teacher's room in high school. I like it. I like it. I feel like because I've been working all day today on texturing my 3D model, my new 3D model. I can't wait to show you guys. I've applied so many things too that I've learned in these lessons to my model, and I feel like it's looking so good. Soon, beginning of September, we'll have a new model, and I'm very excited about it. A full-sized model, not a chibi, full-sized LiLi. I know, I'm so excited. Also blaze with a go, and a nya, and we got a little sing-songy. But today, like, my brain has been like half asleep. I feel like it started out real rough in the teaching because I was like, my brain is so like swimmy today. I don't know if it was helpful. Hopefully it still was. So, apologize if I've been a little tired and distracted. I also had my window open and I kept seeing things drive by and stuff and lights, and it kept distracting me while I was trying to teach. I should have closed it before I started. So Ishikun, thank you so much for gifting a sub to Purple Yam. Purple Yam, welcome to the Demon Army. Thank you, thank you. I appreciate it, Ishikun. And also a for Natsumi-san and a nyada 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 nyada. Just getting all the purrs in. Yeah, so sweet, Ishikun. But yeah, we're gonna go find somebody to raid. Hopefully we'll see you then next time, Purple Yam. Can learn together. We do this basically every Tuesday, where we practice and learn art. So even if you're not learning this specific type of art or something like that, you're always welcome to come in and study and hang out. Ask any art questions you might have, and I will be happy to answer anything. Let's go raid Belindra today. I feel like I haven't raided them in a bit. Oh wait, Fushi's on. I don't get to raid Fushi very often either. Let's give Fushi some love. They're playing Minecraft, and I'm probably gonna be playing Minecraft after this. Possibly, I'm gonna go for my walk. I always try to get one walk in every day. You know, stay healthy. I need to put some clothes on my drawings. Do you? Do you really though? Do you really? I feel like you make more money if they don't have clothes on them, right? I kid. Yeah, I gotta get those steppies in. Have a good walk, thank you. Yeah, we're gonna go give Fushi some love. They're playing some Minecraft today. They're super, super sweet. Very big sweetheart. And we'll give them some love. If you're looking for an art stream to go follow, I will still recommend Belindra as well, because they're doing some art if you're wanting to stick with art. But I want to go give Fushi some love because they very rarely stream at the same time as me, and they're super sweet. So they're playing some Minecraft. Yeah, I think that's everything. So streams for this week. Today is Tuesday, which means in our Discord, we're going to be watching anime tomorrow. So if that interests you, we are watching episodes 13, 14, 15, I think, of Dungeon Meshi. We basically, I think it seems like we finished the first half of the season, and now we're just heading into the second half of the first season. There's first part, second part. We're going into the second part now. That's what I'm trying to say. So yeah, if you like watching anime, we're going to be doing that tomorrow at 6 p.m. Pacific. And then next stream is not going to be on Thursday. So it's usually Thursdays I stream. But instead, I'm going to be playing Minecraft with Aqua on Tuesday this week. So I'm actually going to be taking off Thursday and Friday. So just keep that in mind. There is no stream this Thursday. It's going to be on Saturday instead. But yeah, you can find there it is. Blaze already got it. You'll find my schedule there on my socials. If you're looking for it, you can go find all my different socials there, Instagram, Twitter, all those things, with my website link. And yeah, I think that's everything. So let's get this raid command up for Fushi. There it is. I need to... Oh no, I'm running on 0 snoozes left. Thank you. I need to finish up quickly. Thank you so much for being here, Foxfires, hanging out with me, doing some art, getting some good study in. I appreciate all the support you give me. Super thank you for hanging out with me. And yeah, let's go give Fushi some good old Foxfire lovin'. Oh wait, raid command. Foxfires, raid, message. Raid, message, 2. There it is. Blaze got it too. Copy and paste that raid message. We'll go give Fushi some Foxfire love. Thank you again. Bye. I hope you have a good morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time zone it is for you, Foxfires. I hope it's a good one. If you're off to bed, then sweet dreams. Otherwise, let's go say hi to Fushi. Bye.